is representing individuals. I anticipate and look forward to an interesting session with Tom. My second guest will be Teresa DePass, and she's a mental health professional with decades of experience. She will talk to us about mental health in general, and then based on your questions, she will narrow her focus to Jamaica's approach to the issue. Again, I'd like to thank Tom, Bobby Stevens, and Senator Donna for their contributions. Trevor, Africa, in Long Island, around Long Island. Mommy, happy birthday again from the bad pick, you know, that I mean. Drove for the DC area. I'm happy that still one. It is in good spirit. Many, many birthdays. Shout out to continued praise and blessings to Herb's wife. Earl the Pearl, get well soon, my brother. And Sassy Diva, look yourself. Shout out to my folk groupers. Shout out to the Reggae Global family, the Meadowbrook crew, the Firehouse crew, the Rollington crew. Including one of the police, James. James, sir, continue to reserve your members. I have a quote for you today. And the quote, funny thing about life, refuse to accept anything best. Foreign affairs, and but fool for two. All right. With Tom, with can I just transfer over, or do I do it?
I'm hearing him.
Herb. Well, the panelists that Tom has agreed to answer any question, almost. Excellent. So it's wide open.
All right.
He's there, sir.
Good evening, Tom. First question. You jury trial.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you much back. So early um, but I had a chance to listen to some of it. So let us look at the issue of jury specifically in Jamaica. Uh, I don't know if you want to refer it as the notion that a trial by your peers is an integral part of the jury system. It was in fact so for many very realistic. In Jamaica, people still say oh, motion of a jury trial. But in fact, if you stop and think about it, all cases are outside of the circuit court. That is to say, it used to be the magistrate's court, which is now the parish court. We have the judge to send people to prison for up to 7 years and can fine you tens of millions of dollars. All of those cases, which are the vast majority of cases, are tried by a single judge. So to start with, I would imagine that maybe 70%, I don't know the figure, but it's probably maybe 70% of the cases that go to trial in the resident magistrate's court, what you used to call now parish court. And those cases are already by a single judge. Then you have all the ones that are tried now in the gun court. All those cases are tried by a single judge. One gun is involved. So robbery with a gun. So the amount of cases triable by a jury is very small in comparison to the larger amount of cases that are being tried. Even then, you have a situation now where most, if not all of the cases, have dual jurisdiction. That is to say, you as a citizen, by a jury or by a judge. Judges now are trying cases. Single judges are trying murder cases, although the option for you to be trained. And my view of it is that the doctors come out to see the question. People don't come because they don't want to mix up into the system, or they're afraid, or they believe if they come and serve, and they will be victimized in some way. So to me is a situation where, and I must tell you, the amount of the daily allowance that they get doesn't even cover parking arrangement after reluctance. My view is that is still causing a problem in holding up the cases. Then we want to do away with the jury trial and judge alone trials.
So tell me something, what's the conviction rate in the gun courts with a single judge?
I can't give that figure. You want me to tell you like 80% or 70% or whatever it is? I don't know.
So
why is that question?
Because single fiction.
Well, remember,
because we don't want.
Remember, that you have the option of an appeal from the single judge.
Hold on, Tom, move over a little bit. Move over a little bit. A little to your right. To your right. No, sorry, to your left. There you go. Perfect.
Yes, if that the judges are trying cases. Although I can't tell you the conviction rate, I must say that I've never heard it said that the judges in the gun court are abusing their jurisdiction. You will get cases that come to the court of appeal, and if necessary, to the Privy Council, and those cases have been heard. But I have never heard it come out by enough my things that the judges in the gun court become acting sticking to the law because there are safeguards to it.
All right, Herb.
Unmute.
Unmute.
All right, good to see you again, Tom. when man lost. I'm 4 years retired military. One of the things that is very troubling me is this case against the yes, killing Keith Clark, which to court martials versus um, uh, civil trial or court trials. But this case calls out, begs for a court martial trial, even if the court martial had convened in CARICOM countries, military officers from CARICOM countries. The reason I'm saying that is because they understand military law, they understand leadership, and they understand failures of leadership. And a last bit. Someplace under the 2010 um, activities in Tivoli Gardens, this man was being monitored by the military intelligence as well as police intelligence. So if you're going to send a
You
hundred,
have to be careful when you say things like that, because you're dealing with a citizen. I have heard or seen no evidence that that citizen was identified as a wrongdoer, none whatsoever. And in fact, for you to say that he was being monitored by the military intelligence is the first time I've ever heard that. Number one, and number two, the matter is still before the court. And notwithstanding that we are operating in a virtual space, I think that we still have to be careful.
right?
You know, I've never heard it said that Keith Clark was being monitored by any agency. To the best of my knowledge, he is someone who was an accountant, and he's someone whose family have supported him. He's come. I don't want to say it, but his antecedents are impeccable.
Okay. Well, I'm not, you know, outlaying facts that would lead to impugning his integrity.
Yes, man, because if you say that he's being monitored by he's being monitored by the police and the military intelligence at that time in Jamaica when there was a state of emergency, of course, they impugn them. But maybe what I don't remember last week where you got into a situation where I kept interrupting you and I don't want to do it.
Right. Right.
I can take
Well,
some time, you know.
let me
Tried if they commit an offense outside of camp, interacting with Jamaican citizens, they are tried as it relates to the civil jurisdictional law, the civil or criminal law that exists within the civilian jurisdiction. No, what you are suggesting is that I don't even know of no, well, maybe there are
a word there
so-called
under civilian control.
civilized countries that a soldier go out into the civilian community and commit what is alleged to be an offense, and you take him into camp and try him in a jurisdiction, in a military jurisdiction. Our constitution don't work like that.
Well, this is
one minute.
what I was trying to get from you.
Final thing. We talk about the director of public prosecutions that understanding military law. He's not being tried under military law. What they are being tried for is offenses relating to the killing of Mr. Keith Clark in circumstances that the state is saying require a charge to be brought before the criminal courts in the civil jurisdiction. It's not a military, that they didn't commit any military offense.
Okay. All right, Tom. Under whose control were these soldiers allowed to deploy, over 100 of them, to the area to attack viciously the residents? You can see all the bullet holes. I wish we could pull up that picture. I think, Lonesome may have the picture. And then enter the home under orders and execute this man.
But look at what you see what I'm telling you. You have said that these people viciously attack the home, enter the home and execute Mr. Keith Clark. That has not been decided in the court.
Under whose orders? This is what I'm saying. Who controlled them at the time?
No, but you've gone past the orders. You have already convicted the men because
No,
they went in. Listen,
I've said what
they
occurred.
said that they're going to the home and execute the men. Is there any evidence of that has been accepted by a court? No. That's why they are before the court to determine if the killing of Mr. Clark was lawfully justified or not. But you have already come to the conclusion that he was executed, which suggests that it's an illegal execution. And now you're asking me who is responsible for that.
No, Tom, let me just jump in here. I think the question, the most probative question is, under whose direction did they leave camp and go to this location? Forget about what the attack, but who ordered them to go there?
So why are you of the view? First of all, the persons are charged with a specific act, right? I could say, if I was trying to be provocative, I could say that whoever it is that sent them there or is ultimately responsible, because the truth of the matter is that the person who is ultimately responsible would be the Minister of National Security, the minister in charge of the military, and the chief of staff. But what relevance is that to what took place on the scene and whether or not persons who participated in a particular event are guilty of a criminal offense? Now, bear in mind, from Nuremberg, it has been well established that following orders is not a defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's been established in international law a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's the chief of staff send them up there, or is Mr. Bunting, who I think, it would have been Nelson, who was the Minister of National Security, or Mr. Golden, who was the Minister of Defense, whether who send them there is neither here nor there.
It's important, Tom, to understand this is the military, right? The military, and I understand Nuremberg very, very well, and Geneva Conventions and the law against the abuse of citizens and the military entering into civilian households. I understand those things quite well. But where this leap has been made is an investigation, I assume, either was done or was not done to determine who sent them there in such great numbers and who gave the order to open fire on the residents.
You see what you have done again? You have gone down the road, you're going along very nicely. You want to know who gave orders to get them there. We said we cannot get that. For them to leave out of camp or wherever they are coming to go to this residence, they must have been given some order to do so. But then now they make a leap and say, who give them authority or orders to fire on the man yard? That's an assumption that I can't make, that anybody gave any such order.
And the only reason I'm saying this, Tom, is because, again, as a military person, every time you do something, while field operations are in progress, you have to receive an order. So if there was an investigation, maybe we should key on the investigation that either was or wasn't done. Are you, as the leader in the Senate, the head man in charge, are you aware of any investigation that was done with regards over 100 soldiers being ordered to the area, and any orders being given subsequent to that deployment?
First of all, my role in the Senate would have me, I would not have that within the purview of my jurisdiction as president of the Senate. I am aware that investigations were done by military. It was in the com at the time, certainly the police force, and files prepared. Those files were submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions and rulings made. The ruling which was made indicated that certain persons ought to be charged for the offense of murder. I have not read that file. To be frank with you, aside from reading reports or summaries of that file, I've had no occasion to read that file from cover to cover. Let me get back to the point. What are the soldiers? What are the individuals charged with? They are charged with the offense of murder, and there are specific aspects, there are specific ingredients of that offense which must be proved for a conviction. There are certain things that you have to establish, and there are certain defenses. No doubt, prosecution is saying that they opened fire without just cause. No doubt, persons charged will say that they were acting lawfully and maybe, I don't know, maybe in self-defense. And those are the issues that will be tried in court, I believe. So if you bring it right down to that grandeur level, you are charged with murder. These are the offenses. These are the ingredients of the offense. Your defense, I was acting in self-defense. Then you raise issues of carelessness, where you acting within the bounds of reason. Did you respond to the perceived threat appropriately? All of those relate to the offense of murder and the defenses that are available to individuals. Now, who it is that send them up there, I don't know the extent to which that would be relevant either to the prosecution or the defense. Because the whole of one, there's a presumption, there's a presumption that if they are there, that they are there acting on lawful order. For them to get there, 100 soldiers, they say it's 100 soldiers, they don't leave out from camp and go to people's place without lawful authority.
All right. Let me turn your attention to, well, I should say back to something that the man in the wilderness asked you. He was asking about bench trials and jury trials and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
No, let me just throw this out. There's a recent study done, and it said that recently, I think it was 2020, and its studies stated that upwards of 70% of Jamaicans, at least the ones polled, believe that they live in a corrupt society. That's the population at large responding to the questions. And then when we talk about bench trials, it's and I'm not casting aspersions on the judiciary, but here's the question. Here's a statement, and then I'll ask you the question. They say that if you want a good lawyer, talk to somebody who knows the law. But if you want an outstanding lawyer, talk to somebody who knows a judge. And you know that is resolute, but I'll leave that for you to ponder. Here's a question I want to ask you. What's your... All right, go ahead and respond to it, please.
First of all, we have the capacity. We have capacity to denigrate ourselves and our institutions. Jamaica became independent in the early 60s and took over a judicial system that was run by Englishmen, English prosecutors, and to a large extent, Anglophone Jamaican lawyers or English lawyers. We were left a system. Let me give you an example. we were left a system that sent our judges and our senior legal officers home at 8. And the reason why that was done is because they wanted to go back to England and enjoy their retirement. The judicial system, by any possible analysis, has been transformed by independent Jamaica to a level of international competence. But we in Jamaica, rather than looking at the level of competence of our Court of Appeal, our High Court judges, Parish Court judges, we prefer to say, sure, all of them are corrupt. I can tell you, in the history of this country, to the best of my recollection, there has been one incident where a resident magistrate was found to have acted corruptly, and she was arrested and sent to jail. This little quip that you mentioned, oh, there are two types of one who know the law, one something that people say all over the world, and it is a bit of hilarity.
So it does not in Jamaica.
I can only say that I've never experienced any such thing.
And you've never heard of it happening in Jamaica.
But no, to hurt. If I am telling you that if there is somebody that can come forward and credibly say that they have given judge money or that they have used their influence to judges to influence the outcome of any criminal case or civil case, it would be a fantastic thing to me. Right. Let me tell you, I have heard. I have heard. Okay. Listen to what I tell you, I hear.
Okay.
I have heard where people say, oh, them say a man and the man say them know the judge and them give money to give the judge. That is, I can't hear that. That is rubbish. I never hear that yet. But look here now, we have the capacity to discredit ourselves. And we do it because see your show here, you have other people who have show, similar show, wide audience. And the first thing, oh, judge them in Jamaica corrupt. I have never seen it. And none of you can give me any evidence.
All right, well, let me ask you then. I take it then by everything that in the ability and the judges in the Caribbean. You know we're going with this.
Yes, but
no, I'm just asking a simple question.
So let me ask you a question.
No. Answer my question first. No.
I'm going to answer to the question.
No. Answer it with an answer, not with a question.
You think that when I said, I didn't know where I was going.
No, you know where I'm going. No, where I'm going. So that's why I'm asking you now. The question pending is, do you believe in the competence and the ability? You mentioned about Jamaica, but now I'm talking about the Caribbean. Do you believe?
Okay. Look here.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, all right. No, that's your answer. Let me ask you this. Then why is it that we don't subscribe to the CCJ?
Okay. In my opinion, the judges in the Caribbean are excellent. They provide excellent jurisprudence for us to follow. Our final Court of Appeal in Jamaica is an excellent body. The Privy Council, which provides law, which allows even Jamaican lawyers to sit over there, by the way. The Privy Council has done excellent for Jamaica. And even recently, there has been a ruling which provided great clarity to us in relation to questions of our own Bill of Rights. The question you want my personal view? I do not see a difficulty with us establishing our own final Court of Appeal in Jamaica. I don't have a problem with that.
So wait, hold on.
As far as the Caribbean Court of Justice is concerned, I do not believe it is, and this is my view, that we should necessarily, according to them, according to people, bring home our legal patrimony and send it to Port of Spain. I think that we have the capacity to do it ourselves. In the meantime, recognize that in order to remove the Privy Council, we have to put the matter to a referendum.
Okay, I understand that.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't have no issue with the Jamaican judges. But I want to tell you, you look at something. There was a ruling recently of our Court of Appeal, and the Privy Council, it related to the issue of, I think it needs, and a judgment was given by our Chief Justice. And the Privy Council, essentially, although they may have tweaked a bit his judgment, accepted his ruling. So our competence is beyond question.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You just point that even though the Privy Council is composed of excellent jurists, it's a body, right? We didn't create that. That was imposed on us. And so it sounded to me as if you were saying we need to get away from having the English people come and render justice.
But I just said that I think Jamaica can establish.
No, but look, don't in fact supported the CCJ financially and otherwise.
Is Trinidad. This is in Trinidad.
Yes,
Trinidad
but so why is it then that we're supporting them then if we don't believe in them or we don't want to subscribe to them?
We deal with them in a particular civil jurisdiction.
No, the wilderness man is waiting to ask his question. But let me just ask you this one question. Recently, the same Privy Council that we're talking about rendered a decision saying attorneys will now have to report, in essence, report suspicious clients, right? We know the reason. What is your opinion on that decision?
First of all, I recognize that Bar Association and the attorney associations, the associations of matter, the Privy Council were wasting their time. If you have a regime that says, you have a regime that recognizes that you have a problem in the society of illegal money getting into the system and corrupting the system. Accountants are subject to, banks are subject, then the attorneys are also to be subject to it. I have no difficulty with the ruling from the Privy Council.
Let me just make an announcement to the people listening to us on the commercial side, the radio side. We're going to take a commercial break short. It's scheduled, but we on the live stream side will not take that commercial break. We're going to continue with Tom. So if you want to hear or even participate in the conversation that's going on, then you can switch over from the radio side to the live stream side. And if you feel like switching back after the commercial break, it's your election, or you can stay with us. Continue. Mr. Man in the Wilderness, your turn,
Yes,
sir.
man. Yes, man. Now we can continue with that, though, right? Tom, as the president who preside over the Senate, right? Passing laws for harsher punishment for these criminals, to get locked up and, long sentences. You also represent a lot of these so-called criminal. What's your position on this as a president? If it, what would they call it now, Rattigan? If it
is there a conflict?
proper, if it's proper, appropriate for you to represent in these criminals, although you're the one who helped passing the laws to put them away.
You're talking about conflict of interest, which I think your Tom was about to assert.
As a member of the Jamaican Senate, I'm a part of the review chamber. Jamaica has a dual two-tier system. So I'm a part of the system that deals with reviewing the laws, some of which are laws that affect criminal side of the jurisdiction. You just mentioned about the question of increasing penalties. The truth about the matter is that my profession as a criminal trial advocate is completely divorced from that. In one capacity, I'm reviewing a law to determine whether or not that law fits within the Constitution of Jamaica, whether there is anything unconstitutional in the law, whether the law can be applied within the framework of the Constitution. And as the president of the Senate, at the end of the day, I signed the law to say essentially, the Senate has agreed that this law fits within the confines of the Constitution and further within the policy framework of the government. In another capacity, I would take that same law and determine in a court of law whether that law which is being applied against my client is being applied fairly. So in my mind, at least, I'm in a position where I operate in two different areas of the law.
Two different areas. All right. But as Ratty just pointed out, right? Some of the high profile, what would I call gunman or so-called gunman, how to get this money to pay lawyers fee and these kind of things. Don't you? Trouble you? Like, you know, the kind of fee you them pay you with, you know?
I like that. Well, you're making several assumptions there. What the Privy Council is really saying now is that the laws of poker and so on apply to all attorneys. I must tell you that with the greatest of respect, that I've never been so overwhelmed with fees that I wonder where the hell these people get this money from. But that's another time.
But
You
Tom,
laugh.
you like everybody else, you have to eat.
Well,
And,
that's
and
what
like every other attorney out there, whether they're young, they're looking up to you, right? And they're looking at your representations, right? So it's important when you say, let me give you a case in point. The Manat case where Dulles tried to use $50,000 to pay Manat, and all of a sudden the State Department is sticking it to Mr. Vaz over the fact that they considered that coming from a drug dealer as ill-gotten gain, and that money should never have entered into the process. Now let's say you're representing, let me find somebody else that do this, Dog Paw, right? And Dog Paw is giving you $50,000 US to take care of him.
Well, first, look here, since Dog Paw is associated with my daughter, I would not take any money from him because I couldn't represent him.
Okay, I got you.
You know, so
Give me some of the prominent names that you represent.
That is a low ball, but I will play it still.
No. Him say me take questions about world boss. Him say me take questions about the world boss.
As far as Dudus and Manat and all of that, I'm going to ask you a simple question. In all of those discussions, I used to represent Christopher Coke. In all of those discussions with Manat, extradition, Beverly Garden, and big commission of inquiry, you hear my name calling it?
We have not heard your name called in that instance.
In any of those mix up with Manat, Phillips, invasion of West Kingston, Washington State, they keep an inquiry down at the conference center for how much week or month. You hear my name calling it?
Tom.
What? What is that?
You must share some documents. No, well.
You have document with my name. Joke, you
Mum's the word.
Well, we know. Hold on, Tom. Ratty, we know something that I got this or something like that. You know, to tell you the truth, we never really hear Tom name calling. Well, you might have something. Well,
it may have been written. May not have been called. May have been written.
No, but I am telling you, my name don't call anything. Check me a piece of paper. You know what? I was so surprised to see the other day. I hear somebody told me that they went to Upper Camp to our guard room up there and saw where I had written a letter to the Jamaica Defense Force, indicating to them on behalf of my client his gratitude for the manner in which he was treated by the soldiers in Upper Camp. My name is on the wall in Upper Camp. I don't know what you show me
No, because what I'm saying to you is that it wasn't. No, Tom. What I'm saying, no, Tom, here's a distinction. No, here's a distinction. Here's a distinction. No, here's a distinction. No, here's a Tom.
The truth comes out, Tom.
No,
From your
what on
mouth.
her? Tom, here's a distinction. You said that you asked a question if you ever have you ever heard. I did this, right? This is not heard, this is written. So
make me see it then. You can't call it out now.
you
Yeah, they can't tell you want to hear it. Come in, want to hear it, you know.
No, well,
We want to hear it.
no.
We want to hear it.
No, I want
What document?
is what?
Is what document it is.
You soon know. But listen, here's a question I want to ask you, Tom.
What is my name? You mix up and me I tell you if you go and mix it up.
No,
again.
you
No,
want
no,
it,
we don't want to mix up your name. We want it clean. We want it clean. We don't want to mix it up. We don't mix it up. But listen, Herb, you have a question? Because
Yeah. Well, my concern is this: if Tom is on the board of honor of JDF, he should have stated that fact because it influences his answers to me as to why the JDF report was not called out, and the reason why I said senior members, senior two,
No, man. No.
the commander, Rocky
What I'm
Mead.
telling you is that when my client was taken to the Jamaica Defense Force and kept there, awaiting expedition to the United States.
Yeah.
And when he was leaving out of Jamaica, I said to himself, Uncle, I must tell you, the soldiers have treated me very well. I have no problem. I thought I might have been abused. They treat me very well. Would you please convey my gratitude, if you want to use that word, to the chief of staff? And I wrote and said, dear sir, my client has no problem with the manner in which he was treated by the Jamaica Defense Force. I don't know how you jump from that and gone back to Mr. Clark.
No, I'm not going back. All right, let me put the shoe on the other foot. I am now asking you to represent the couple Buckley who's accused of these murders. And would it be within your purview as the representing attorney to challenge the fact that the JDF has separated the chain of command, which is command and control over these three young men, in whatever report they wrote, and has left these young men out there on a boat in the middle of the ocean to sink or swim? Would it be within your purview to challenge that report and to say these young men were acting on orders? They do not move left, right, or center or backwards without specific orders, written or verbal. Would you be able to challenge that?
First of all, it indicated to you that I don't have the papers, so I don't know the detail. And we're going back to the question.
But
I thought
you
I
brought
made
up
it
the
clear.
fact, that there was a military report. You said that, yeah?
I brought up the fact that what?
There was a written military report, as well as civilian report.
Yes, what I said.
In the
I do know the military had an investigation, the court had an investigation, and the police had an investigation, and all of those matters were submitted to the prosecution. Now, bear in mind, I have not seen it, but by virtue of my knowledge of procedure, I have not heard it said in the newspaper or in the press or anywhere else that the military did not investigate this. They would have in the normal scheme of things. So I assume that was done. I haven't seen it, and I can't. What you're asking me, you see, coming back to this question. First, the young soldiers, or the soldiers, I should say, have been charged in a civilian court. And you come back to the question of orders. I can't really answer that. I don't know. That is outside of my pay grade, which is not very high.
And you wonder about the high fees or the fees that you've been collecting, right? Okay.
We will guarantee your fees to represent them.
I want to say something. That I don't think that I would. KD Knight is someone who I have a very good relationship with, and we have one of the first very important cases that I did with KD Knight Bert Samuels, who you should have on your show, by the way, was a very junior lawyer at the time. And it was a murder matter in Court 1 in the Home Circuit Court. And there were 3 accused persons. This is just aside, you know. There were 3 accused persons, and Knight was a senior lawyer to me. So I was representing a female who it was accused that she had paid her boyfriend to shoot her husband and kill him. And I was representing the wife. Knight was representing the shooter, and there was somebody else down the line. I don't remember his role. And then I'm preparing the case, and I'm saying to myself, I'm a young lawyer, and I'm saying to myself, boy, AD Knight can take care of this, man. I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. I just have to make some reasonable preparation, right? But as far as the intricacies of this thing, I'm going to leave that to senior counsel KD Knight, who at the time I didn't know very well anyway. So I went to court this morning, and the court case is about to start. And Knight came in and took off his wraparound glasses and threw it down on the desk and said, "Young Tom, what is this case about?"
I don't know. Couldn't give an answer.
And what is the defense? And anyway, I almost died, but there you have it. So we have had a long relationship. And one of the things that we have discussed over the years is the extent to which you have a situation where you're in the Senate, where you are passing laws, you're looking at the question as to whether or not a law is within the jurisdiction or within the confines of the Constitution. And yet still, you're working in the criminal courts, or you're doing something else. You're head of Grace Kennedy, or you have a psychiatric practice and so on. And we often discuss how difficult it is for people to separate your function as a legislator and your function in whatever capacity it is that you are making a living. And at the time when this whole thing came up, I was in Senate, I was in it. And PNP Center made a remark, sort of a remark. And Knight stood up and indicated and explained to his own members that there is a distinction between how a person operates here and how a person operates in the criminal courts. I'm always grateful to him. I don't know why I got off on KB Knight, but he's my friend anyway.
All right, let me ask.
I call that a filibuster. Yeah, man said the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, let me just, I'm looking at the chat room now, and the overwhelming response is that you're very loquacious, but you're not answering the question specifically. Now, that's what the people out there listening to you are saying.
Which is the question I'm not answering specifically about the soldiers?
Yeah, I made you their defense lawyer.
No, but I'm not the defense lawyer.
No. Let's just supposing. Tom.
No, I can't suppose. A man can't come into my office and say, "I want to suppose that you're my lawyer."
Mama Pierre.
We have the money to pay you, so don't worry about that.
Tom, let me ask you. Let me switch gears a little bit here and talk about the Integrity Commission now. I want to dig deep with you on the Integrity Commission Act of 2017 and also the Constitution. But let me preface all of that by asking you the simple question. What's your opinion on the so-called gag on the Integrity Commission?
First of all, people keep continuously referring to this thing as a gag.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Christie himself has campaigned to remove what he refers to as a gag. All right. What exactly are we speaking about? What he's speaking about is a provision that says that the investigation of an individual ought not to be publicized until the termination of that investigation. Now, it seems to me that that operates across the board. If you, Mr. Rattigan, if the fraud squad were to announce tomorrow, oh, we are investigating Mr. Rattigan on several counts of fraud, I would consider that a breach of your privacy and a breach of your rights as a citizen. Why is it that, especially now, since you have the experience of this thing in the parliament with the Prime Minister, with the Integrity Commission, why is it that the Integrity Commission wants to announce to the world that they are investigating John Brown, a member of parliament, because it is suspected that he has done something to the investigation and charge him if the investigation comes to fruition? What they want to do? They want to say, okay, these 12 members of parliament are being investigated for corruption. Here are the 12 names. That's what they want to be able to do.
And what's wrong with that?
What do you mean, what is wrong with that?
It's only an investigation. It's not a,
Yes,
it's
so
not a
it's an
conviction. It's
Yes,
not a
so
conviction.
well, yes, so what we are saying, why should you be allowed to tarnish the reputation of any citizen of Jamaica until the investigation is completed? And
But
done
we see it
one
with the
way or
police.
other?
The police, they make statements say that they're investigating somebody. What's wrong with
Is it
that?
right?
What's
Is it
wrong with
right?
that? What's wrong
Is
with
it
that?
right?
But I notice you're not
Yeah,
taking
asking
no,
you,
but
is
I
it
know
right?
no, but I notice you're not taking objection to that when the police
Well, I already, the police do not do that.
the police do not do what?
The police walk around saying they're investigating without.
No, I've seen and I've heard occasionally where they said somebody's on the investigation. But
Well, what the police put out Mr. Seman wanted.
Yeah.
Do it with Swagger Benz and them there overseas.
Right.
And then they come and apologize. With me said that they wrong. Totally wrong, because the man live overseas. If they don't want to shooting and then look what happened. The police
Yes,
them
so-
continue to do these things.
So
It needs to stop then.
So what you are saying that it is wrong. But then you're in another position. Here is a gentleman who knows the law as it relates to the criminal application of the law. If you take this thing to the extreme, right? Then you have a situation where a man says, I saw John Brown shoot Mary Strokes. And the police can put out a poster and say he's to come in. Nothing wrong with that, you know. But you're in a different situation where you are investigating a member of parliament, whether PNP or JLP, to say that this person in 2014 took or gave a contract in illegal circumstances. You don't understand that all the parliament is saying, all the law is saying, investigate the matter.
But
hold on a little bit. Why is it necessary to go on the front page to say, we are investigating Member of Parliament John Brown? Why is that necessary? Now, do your work, man.
But hold on, let's be clear though.
Let me ask you a question. How does the so-called gag order prevent the Integrity Commission from doing their job? Answer that.
All right, I'll answer you. For example, if they make the announcement that, listen, we're investigating Mr. Tom Tavares Finson for whatever the violation is, it's quite possible that there might be witnesses out there who might come forward once they know that the investigation has begun. That otherwise, if they don't know about it, they probably wouldn't have said a word. How about that?
I have never heard the Integrity Commission.
I ask you, how about that argument?
I have never heard.
I don't know. I forget about integrity. I ask you, you ask me a question and I answer you. How about that argument?
Yeah, but if
you see, I stammer now.
Okay.
Listen, let me ask.
If you have sufficient information to investigate somebody, investigate them. Come before the parliament, come before the country and say, we have investigated this person and here is the result. You're accusing me of stammering. I don't appreciate that. No, man.
It's light-hearted. Come on, you're too thin-skinned. You're too thin-skinned. You're too thin-skinned. No, you're too thin-skinned, man. You're too thin-skinned. But let art.
You want to get into the Integrity Commission, and I'm going to say something now.
Okay. Okay. You want to go first? You want to go first?
The same commission that you want to give authority to set and publish anything. They have a report from 2007, 2008, an investigation to Andrew Holness in relation to the question of conflict of interest. And we discussed it last week. They submitted to their department, the legal department said there is nothing prosecutor. And that same organization that you are calling for to quote remove the gag order clause, put the investigation before the court and have the end result of investigation put down up at the office and don't put it before the court. But that is, I want to just clear up. I want
Okay.
to just say,
All right.
as you keep, let me tell you what you keep saying, and I appreciate it. You say something to the effect, let me change the narrative. Let me change the narrative. You operate an important source of information to Jamaicans and non-Jamaicans. Some Caribbean, American people, you have a listenership. You have a listenership that is appreciative of you, because before you asked me to come on your show, I heard about your show.
Oh, wow.
I know the area in which you operate, and I know that people listen to the show. But you don't want to be in a position where all your show do, I'm not saying you do, all your show do is tear down Jamaica. There are so many things happening in Jamaica now beyond. I talk about Labour Party politics or Mr. Golding or Andrew Wallace. I'm speaking about things that are happening in this country that are so important, and you are not talking about it. Let me give you an example. The governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Biles, recently said that in the last quarter of 2022, the Jamaican economy grew by 5.7%. Unprecedented growth for Jamaica. Unprecedented in economies which have been ravaged by COVID. You need to talk about that. Governor Biles cannot be considered
Mr. Rattigan.
a stooge of the government of Jamaica.
And I'm not saying no. Hold on a second, Tom. We have a call. Hold on a second. Yeah, caller, go ahead.
You're the panel live?
Yes, I am on live. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's check it out.
All right, cool. All right. All right, Tom. Let me
just
sure.
You have unemployment at 6%. I'm not suggesting that there are not problems, 6% unemployment rate in Jamaica is unprecedented in Jamaica. You have a tourist industry that is booming. In the last months, January and February, and I'm not suggesting that we can rest on our laurels, serious crime in this country is down by 25%.
Without state of emergency.
No, that's not true. State of emergency are run same way.
No,
Oh, yeah?
I think
State of emergencies are running same
serious crime.
In other words, they are being declared and not. We're not seeking the opposition. The opposition.
I'll just finish your point.
In other words, what I'm saying is, you have a program like this that has reached so many people. The Financial Times wrote an article to say that the recovery of Jamaica post-COVID is unprecedented.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not in this region. You can't even go to a supermarket. Hold on. You cannot go to a supermarket in England.
So I ask something to that.
Go ahead.
Let me just ask something. So Jamaica grew.
But Tom, you kill the time, man. We understand the point you made.
You have a program like this, and you're talking about doodles, and you throw a word for me and put in dog pie in it. And
No, but talk about what you're talking about.
All right, Tom, hold on a second. Tom, hold on a second now.
Right. So,
Yeah, hold on a second.
Hold on a second. So we see the paper come out a couple months ago, and it shows that 2 million people can't find food to eat. And it printed 2 million people in Jamaica now, 2 million Jamaicans can't find proper food, can't feed themselves.
Where you see that?
Yeah, we show that. We show it today. We show it. The finance minister, yes. We show it to the finance.
Nigel Clark said 2 million people.
No, the paper, it come out and it show it published in the Gleaner or something. You can look at it. So we straight to one of them.
All right,
Yeah.
hold on it. Tom, hold on a second. Tom. Tom.
Everyone on our friend and
No,
family
hold on
in
a
Jamaica.
Of course, of course.
2 million people in Jamaica can't
Hold on a
buy
second.
food.
No,
Tom.
them can't eat proper food. No, me and you
You
know
must
the
talk
same now.
nutritious food you must talk about, Tom.
Because the rice, the staple rice and the flour are chicken, but that can be proper food. Some can't even find food feed for real. We know
Oh,
that because
all right,
we-
Tom. No, Tom.
No, but that
But
is
Ta-
the reality.
but Tom,
So
Tom.
even the 6%.
Tom,
wouldn't sell at
Tom,
Burger
Tom,
King.
Tom, you have to hold on. Tom, you have to hold on. You have to hold on, Tom. Hold on a second. Hold on.
No,
Hold
man, I'm not tear down. No, no.
hold on there. Hold on there. Hold on there.
Deal with reality. It's not about no.
Tom, remember you make a promise you're not going to interrupt, you know. I will make you talk. We'll make you talk.
Hold on. No. Deal
No,
with
man.
reality.
Kudus used to be at Jamaica and get every contract, and since him leave at Juliet Wellness, I get the contract.
Who said that?
I hear that.
Where you hear that?
Tell me, say it up. Somebody never said so.
No, where you hear that?
It wasn't said.
I'm asking you where you hear that. I don't remember hearing it. That's what I'm
Somebody
asking
tell
you.
me, say they
All right,
hear.
hold on a second. Wait, finish your point. Because we have something
we
like
are
that.
saying no. You know, say over Jamaica, a lot of things not right. And we not hide this. It's about Bank of Jamaica.
Tom, you cannot interrupt. Tom, make him Tom. Tom, you have to make him finish. You have to make him finish.
Number one, you know what?
Tom, all right, hold on.
We not do that. We not do no fast big up. We don't do that. We not gonna be no puppet. We don't do fast big up. We cannot. We don't do fast big up. We not follow back just bias because of foolishness. We only gonna do fast big up. No, we don't do.
All right, let me talk about that. Hold on there, Ian. Hold on there. Him touch my can. Hold on, him touch my can. Tom. All right, Tom. Let me talk to you.
No, man.
Hold on, Tom. Tom, hold on a second. Tom, you have to restrain yourself, man. You have to make other people talk too. You have to make other people talk. No, hold on a second.
You heard the program last night with the Minister of Health.
Them never listen to that.
You
No,
heard the
never listen to
program
it.
before with
No, make him start. No, make him. Let me hold right in there. Let me hold it. Tom, hold on there. From Jamaica. Call you back. I call him. I talk to Tom. You know, you're gonna work him now. Listen, Tom, let me tell you something. This program, yeah, we talk about some of the good things going on in Jamaica. Obviously, you know what your whole thing. That's what I'm saying. You're not listening. But Tom, hold on a second now. Tom, we can't operate like this, Tom. Tom, we can't operate like this.
We're not doing a bogus big up.
Well, I know. Tom.
The Bank of Jamaica.
Hold on a second.
People hungry.
Well, Tom. Hold on a second, Tom. Hold on there. Tom. Hold on, I'm not talking to Tom. Tom. Hold on there.
Okay, well, Ratty.
Right.
So them put off local government election. Why? Because them can't find the money and they can't something and something and that. We have to come to the reality and come to the realness, brother. We can't say we are put on the country, but we have to talk real. I know we're violence, but we have to talk real thing. Real thing here.
Tom.
Not me, we're not throwing a word. We just keep it real.
Tom, hold on a second, Tom. Let me say my piece now, Tom, because you spoke a lot and you interrupt and you say never go interrupt, you know. Well, no run, you're right there. All right, first, we could talk about the background. Tom, you know the background, Tom? You know this background is to me? This background is inspiration. This looks exactly like my street, Penwood Road, down a Waterhouse. And every time he come, let me finish, the man. Let me finish. Let me finish, the man. And what happened is that every time I come on this my set and I see that background, it reminds me of where I came from. And it reminds me who I left behind. And so listen, Tom, we can't. Tom, listen to me now. Listen to me now. No, countries are too wild. Let me tell you something, Tom. So when I come on and I see this, it inspires me because it said to me, don't ever forget where you come from. Don't forget them people there. And that's one of the reasons why we do this. We talk out for poor people. No, the other thing that you mentioned is that we not big up Jamaica on this program, not big up Jamaica. We big up Jamaica.
That's I hear.
Yeah. No, listen long enough. You don't listen to the program, Tom. Make it up. Tom.
keep it real.
Tom, what you need to do
For
is,
Jamaica.
Tom,
We're
make a
about
pledge.
family, Tom. We're
Yeah.
not leave out
Tom,
nothing,
make a pledge to me.
Big man, you couldn't have
Well,
family in Jamaica. You come on this here tell American people that.
No, but we couldn't tell lie. If you
Hold
tell
on,
lie,
Tom.
no, you can't be bogus. You have to start straight, brother. I want thing with me, no. We not get no program from no politician. We have to talk straight as is and talk factual. We can't come up like Bank of Jamaica guy and tell him lie about we go 5%. Where is the growth? We not have no road. We road them now repaired properly. The infrastructure them messed down. The hospital them run down. The school them not work right. But we talk the truth, brother. But have we talk the truth, man. We not I no disrespect. Uncle we can't build the country if we talk the truth. We not play politics on here, you know. This is not politics, brother.
You call your relative in Jamaica and ask them about the condition of the roads.
Brother, me see it every day. Me see it every day. Me talk to them every day. Me have to be enough thing to invest in the place, you know, brother.
Tom, let me just say something about unemployment. You said that it is the lowest, and it is true. But Tom, one of the things that we're not talking about is underemployment, right? We talk when you start talking about the people who are living, Tom, right? 9,000. No, but Tom, listen.
And one of the things that I'm concerned about, although you have a lot of people who are working, for example, in hotels, the wages are not commensurate with the work that they are doing.
Okay.
I recognize that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Recognize that. At the same time, you are coming out of a pandemic. You are in a situation where the economy could be much better, but it could be dramatically worse. We could have 2 million people down here starved. We could have.
But we in the diaspora send 3 billion come. So we are balance it. How we are balance it, you know? So you should not tell me something for what we are doing. We not just talk where we have put money where we out there. So we still have balance it. We not just criticize, you know, but we are balanced it.
Oh, Lisa, yeah, go ahead. Tell me the
We
question.
are balanced
So I
it,
can
brother.
ask them. Because I don't
We
think
are
they can
balanced
hear
it,
you.
man.
No, I want
We are, you know, so we are
Hold
balanced.
on. I have a caller. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi, Tom. Listen, I can move
Lisa,
to Jamaica, right?
Lisa, talk up louder.
Yeah, okay. I'm from Jamaica and I've lived in the States for 40 years, right? And I have a few family there and I do visit. Love my country. It's a beautiful country, okay? And I've told my friends who are not Jamaicans that it's a beautiful country, okay? Now, here's the thing. I can come to Jamaica tomorrow and live in Cherry Gardens and live a wonderful lifestyle. But the thing is, we cannot ignore the issues of the majority of the population. There are issues. So while some of us are privileged, okay, we cannot ignore the issues. And I think, I know for sure, I don't think this platform is about putting down Jamaica. This platform is about bringing up the real issues. Okay, we love Jamaica. And this is the purpose of this platform, because we
Lisa,
love our country. Many of us cannot. The real issue, another issue in Jamaica is crime, right? Why would we want to come to Jamaica and deal with crime with all the blah, blah? Come on, man. So we're talking about the issues. There are countries like Mexico, Colombia, who have done a great job with crime. They have a large expat community. It's important for them to have an expat community to bring in dollars to their economy, right? So the thing is, Jamaica is so close to the United States. What are we doing? It is so close to the United States. It should be a haven for expats, for retirees to come to Jamaica. So we have to discuss the real issues. How do we become a better Jamaica?
Lisa, let me tell you something. I agree with everything that you have said. Everything that you have said. But what I want you to focus on for 1 minute I
Mhm.
agree that the question of crime is something that is crippling this country. I agree with you. Pointed out by one of the hosts here that we have difficulty in the educational system. I agree with all of that. I am simply saying that sometimes we are very hard on ourselves because we don't appreciate where we are coming from as a colonial society in 1962-63, and to recognize the steps that we have made. We were left in 1962 as a crime. We had no social infrastructure. The infrastructure and the economy, the society was geared on an extraction basis to suit the colonial masters. In 1963, mortality rate, literacy rate was 90% in 1963. We have serious problems, but we have made remarkable strides. And all I'm saying,
Tom, we have made strides, but we have.
I agree with you now. And when I'm talking, and I spoke about the
Jamaica
question
should be far better than what Jamaica is today, right? You're okay. You're talking about this economy and GDP.
We had it from 1972 to 1980. We had negative growth. The economy was destroyed.
Why?
No, man.
All right.
Coming into the 90s and going up in the 2000s, based on the numbers, we had economic stagnation.
GDP, okay?
There seems to be some change now.
Hold on, Tom, hold on, let you finish.
Change of rules.
There are two
We have
flaws
trade,
to
we have
GDP
trade,
in
we
any country
have so much
where
things, but we lose.
GDP
Everything
is
gone.
Finish, Lisa.
Value gone to nearly 160 for one.
we ain't talking
No,
about
not yet,
that,
Tom. Not yet, Tom. Let Lisa finish.
No,
No.
continue this discussion
No.
next week. And when we go on in the course behind the
No, we're not do that. We're not do that.
No,
No. Go, Lisa, finish your point, Lisa.
All right.
Hold on the loan song. Hold on the loan song. Hold on. Lisa, finish your point, please.
Okay, the two flaws to GDP are GDP represents economic output, which is consumption, right? And the other flaw is that it does not address the income inequality in a society, right? So we can brag about GDP. Okay, let me ask you this. Over 20%, a little over 20% of GDP is tourism. How much of that is owned by Jamaicans? Another question, over 50% of GDP is a service sector. How much of that is owned by Jamaicans? These are the critical questions that we need to answer. So we can gloss over this beautiful number. So all I'm saying is,
native Jamaican financial structure was destroyed in the 1990s and the early 2000s. Lisa, we will continue this. Thank you very much. God bless Rattigan. Lovely to talk to you people. And I'm prepared to come at quarrel.
Me not get to talk to you about the Integrity Commission and the Act of 2017. No, you're way though.
Yeah.
Mr. Lonesome have a town hall every Sunday night, which is an extended program, and you get a chance to actually talk to real Jamaicans. When I say real Jamaicans, I mean Jamaicans living in Jamaica and Jamaicans living abroad.
Anytime you're ready.
All right.
Anytime you're ready. Sunday night, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock,
Later.
Tomorrow night, 8.
That's a filibuster in there, Tom.
Yes, man. Tomorrow night, 8. Right?
All right. Yeah, we can call them and set that up for tomorrow. See, Tom is a wonderful guy to chat to. He has his own opinion.
Yeah,
we respect people's opinion. We respect them opinion.
But
but the only thing is that
I will not say nothing else.
Yeah.
Because it's always here. We're not talk behind people, but we want to talk front of them.
Right.
So tomorrow night, 8. We don't have nothing else to say. I'm gonna put the on pause till tomorrow night, 8. And make him come on tomorrow night, 8 in the town hall.
Yeah.
Smart people are listening to us all over the diaspora and in Jamaica too. and him come make the same speech.
The,
Tomorrow night,
there, man. The thing,
Yes.
and I said this before Tom's face, and I'll say it behind his back, is that Tom has a tendency to interrupt you when you're talking, right? And yeah, he has a tendency to interrupt. And although you want to make him talk, Tom is very loquacious, he's very fluent, and so Tom will go on and talk and say the same thing in 4 or 5, 6 different ways, and then kill the time, and you can't get a question in. And Tom knows what he's doing. It's by design. But tomorrow night, we'll have him tomorrow night. Hold on, make it a call from Jamaica. Hold on.
Filibuster that they
Yeah.
use
Hello, caller. Go ahead.
in the Senate.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Blessings to the panel.
Yes. Hold on.
You know what I've been noticing.
You don't get all the points.
Go ahead, caller.
Okay. What I've been noticing is that from 1944 until now, there has been a brain drain taking place, and it's increasing. And when I say brain drain, it is a shame to see people who are so intellectually skilled prostitute that intelligence in support of partisan politics. And when I listen in, and it's not just one side, I literally see people choose, no matter how stupid they look, to defend a party line, even although Jamaica itself and its present condition can testify to the fact that there is no better herring, no better barrel. Mean both PNP and JLP was here all along. As exacerbated. Each one of them come on and blame the other one. Jamaica is prosperous except when JLP was in. Jamaica is prosperous except PNP was in. We need to get some sober people to discuss this.
All
That's
right.
all I have to say.
All right, hold on.
One government
Caller.
at a time, you can't go around that. And you can't use no figures and people come with figures all the time and just come tell us this and you have to do this. No, remember say we not program, we not do the computer program thing there, You understand, Ratty?
Yeah.
So we talk as is. When you see the thing as is, you don't say, our man come tell me or force me and say, big up, you have to big up this because big up your country. No, when things wrong, it's wrong, people hungry.
Rattigan.
The system
Yeah.
break
Hold on a
down.
second, when you're another caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, so thank you for taking the call. So Mr. Tavares Finson was basically running out the clock.
Okay.
The funny thing is he said that your show and other shows like your show don't have anything good to say to Jamaica, but he must remember that when he was in opposition, Andrew Holness or a bunch of his cronies, they were talking about all the PNP did, and I'm not a PNP, but then I'm telling all the PNP did was pass INF test. All the PNP did was
Can't
like
hear
I said,
him
pass.
You can't hear him, go?
Can you hear me?
You said you can't hear you. Well, go ahead. Keep talking.
All right. He was saying that your shows don't talk nothing good about Jamaica. But when they were in opposition, he was saying that all the other party did was pass IMF test. All they do is they refuse to fire certain ministers, and he has been in office and he hasn't fired anyone. They talk about the crime situation, and they're not really doing much about the crime situation except SOEs. There are a couple other things here before I hang up here. When you really look at the situation with the economy, the trade deficit has widened. It's less production, obviously, and that's why the trade deficit has widened. That's what it is saying. We're going into a service economy, right? The dollar's depreciated. So
I'll repeat what he said.
Per se, did not help the country. And Tavares must remember that when he was in opposition, they were tearing down the country. But it's not okay now for someone to just make a simple criticism about the bad job that they have been doing. Thank you, Mr.
All right. Thanks. What the caller he took objection to what Tom was saying, because he's talking about the widening trade deficit, no manufacturing, and that
is it.
Yeah, and he was saying that when they're bragging about the numbers, but the numbers aren't really true numbers.
It's not true numbers. It's a paper economy right now, brother. If we did have plane, we'd have train. We have too much things back in the days, and we lose all of these things. When money, the value is a paper economy. We don't own nothing. And you have a government who on board and say,
Hello?
Jamaica said this.
Well,
That make it right?
No, hold on a second. Yes, caller, go ahead.
I have to say this about Jamaican violence. The violence in Jamaica is essentially emblematic of the sort of politics that exists there. It's an emblem. It's actually emblematic rather than symptomatic. In other words, hello? Right. The violence is an emblem. In other words, the violence established what the system there is, and the crime. It actually established the way the structure is, rather than, in other words, if you look at when you explore the violence, or violence is actually a reflection of how the system is set up. Not, in other words, the responsibility for the country and its direction, and provide for the elements that generate the violence. The problem will be more bent on criminality. It's because of how much the speaker before, the guest before, spoke so eloquently about what Jamaica, the progress we, etc. He failed to touch on the fact that the problem Jamaica has, the violence, etc., stems from how much the elite class has abdicated their responsibility over the decades. He talked about what happened in 63 and the numbers of illiteracy, etc., etc. And not realizing that the same who took over leadership from the so-called colonial master continued a similar system of ingratiating themselves, making themselves successful really life, while the rest of the country, 95%, the same 90% of illiterate people were left in the lurch. So,
Thank you, sir.
you know, another, I listened to that conversation, and the minute he had the opportunity to go on the defensive, because of the simple statement of you saying that he was stammering, he took that and he ran with that, and he wouldn't allow anyone to speak for that because he had a little opening, and this is why it's important to be careful with characters like that, because if they get a simple chance to continue to hide behind whatever, they will. I don't want to be on long, except to say I said the violence is emblematic of a structure, a system of governance, and the nature of all the societies has been mismanaged. So it's actually like a label you put on something. It's not that it is identifying what the system, what has happened versus how it is, so to speak. I'm not sure if I'm making
No, you are.
my point. You understand what I'm saying?
Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. Thanks for the
Ratty,
call.
make us say
All right.
something, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where as we said, when we want, we'll back time tomorrow. Before we make him some other speech, make him come and defend. We don't want to behind him. But we are not robots. We don't program here. Remember, we are in the diaspora, and we contribute more than what tourism I put down there. If I never our money, PSOJ mash up that over $3 billion per year right now. And have the same COVID when they talk about the pandemic. Remember all of the hotel and everything locked down. The bank of Jamaica come and say thank God for you people in the diaspora. So him come and say, well, he on bun we up in because we not do a good job. We have a paper market. So we are balancing. We must not complain and tell lie and say big up when people are bald. Every day you have to send money. Every day. Infrastructure not fixed. You can't go do something for tourism this and say you do this and that. And by the way, government over $200 billion gone every year because of corruption. You understand? And then go for about it. You must talk about it. We know that. We can't be programmed around here. Remember the man in the wilderness, this are the renegade when afraid in a ratty.
See there.
You understand?
See himself.
Yeah, we keep it clean around here, man.
Hold on, we have another caller. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man.
Hello?
Yes. Caller, go ahead. Hello.
Point in this one after the match.
Right. Yeah. Get a whole heap of some things in the chat room and then some phone calls. It's just interesting how people view things. But again, this is a forum for that. I mean, we can disagree, and that's fine, because if they have a saying that if two people are running a business and they both agree, then you don't need one of them. So in order for grow the business, you need opposing views, right? So this is exactly what this is. Everybody won't share the same viewpoint, but at least everybody will have access to share their viewpoint. No, we may not agree with them, and I'm fine with that. Tom made his points. I mean, he and I, there's some things that I can see myself agreeing with him, but there are lots of things that he and I would disagree. But we're fine. Or Herb, quite a few people say they would love to hear from you. Say something, please.
Yeah, look, I let him go on because I know what it is when you filibuster and you don't want nobody else speaking, because he feels the heat. The other person I had which track shoe have on, Adidas or Puma, because he kept running away 2 weeks in a row now. But the bottom line is this, right? We are here to examine what ails Jamaica, right? We give two ministers now the opportunity to see what ails and the fixes and what is good for Jamaica. Two ministers, and we give Tom, the leader in the Senate, the same opportunity, right? He can speak, he can respond to us, but every question that he was asked by myself that had to do with the law, and especially the decisions being made by this government, he spoke to a military investigation, which nobody has seen the results of. How do you allow the military to investigate itself? This is why I was saying you need to expand that investigation and bring in outsiders from a different Caribbean island, the chief of those defense staff or the executive officers in charge of those defense staff. Bring them in and have them from a military perspective, which obviously Tom, the DP of else has that military perspective. Dealing with and with the order of battle, what happens during a combat area. They treat Jamaica 2010 May like a combat area. So the order of battle tells you there's intelligence and there's the operation. There's a field command, the Rocky Mead. There are these people on the Rocky Mead's command who misbehave themselves, who went up to a house in great numbers, over 100, the report says, and the pictures that they show, you shut up the house. That means you suppress any fire that's coming from that house. And then you sent in a trio to finish the job. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to recognize the order of battle, the way things went down that particular day. The question is, who sent them and why? And it came out of his mouth. He said Bunting, and then he backed up and he said Golden, right? So he called some of the right names. And so why would you have a combined effort between the PNP and the JLP to go in and take this man out? The answer has to be in the documentation that they took from his house? What did they find? We can't say, oh, there was no reason I'm impugning a dead man's integrity. No, in truth to power. They staked this house out. The intelligence that they had told them it's time to come up there because they heard something they didn't like. And it was time to take the man out. Now, Jamaica has to live with that. I have to live with it. Right? I'm here in the United States. I have freedom of speech. And I can say what I need to say. So people in the diaspora understand clearly there's a problem with the procedure that went down. There's a problem when you have even a US P3 spy plane listening overhead and can pick out any call they want and help target a specific house, right? There's a problem when you send 100 soldiers or more up to upper class area of St. Andrew and shoot up a household with 3 people in there. And you have to know 3 people in there because you have the place staked out. It's ridiculous that people acted on a investigation by the military, by the police. They're covering asses. Right? That's simple and straightforward. You need to publish that military and that police report. You need to give transparency to the people of Jamaica. Say what happened. Say why you're going to sacrifice 3 low-ranking people and cover the asses of a major general, a brigadier, and a full-bird colonel. It's that simple.
Yes, sir. I'm here. You make me just finish make the little speech. As me say, no could carry man tomorrow when I want to. Like I'm run off now, go on carry man tomorrow. Yeah, in the town hall and make him come repeat everything. Because we there, you know, remember we're the man of the wilderness. Well, listen, don't you see the finance minister come and him come explain. I will learn to explain, but him never move like this. The health minister come and him do the same thing. I will make him explain or ask him a question, and you don't hear him accuse us of something like this. The opposition leader came on and the same thing. You understand? The spokesperson for finance come on, the same thing. We can't talk to them. That's what come and them want. Okay, we are here for it. I always say, we stand up for the poor and needy and we burn out the rich and greedy. Jamaica going the back way, wrong way. And that's final. Them can't put nothing away then, man. We in the diaspora hold up Jamaica. Okay? So we just keep it real and honest. You go into the community them right now, you have people them can't find food, brother. Staple mean can be flour and rice. And $9,000 a week minimum wage. But yet still, the health minister said yesterday said film pay can't send them kids to school. But yes, still whenever everybody said them, if your pay can't send your kids to school and look about you, what about the people them who work $9,000 Jamaican a week? You see me I say about it? Yes. So that's how we keep it real, man. So you know, say tomorrow night, you know, say yes, man. Keep come on, man. We're good, man. Yeah? All right. Yes.
Never. Another video.
Right. Maybe Teresa can analyze the mental conditions that led to all the
Mm.
shouting.
Okay.
Okay,
Start
you
It's not
can
Rarity.
do that.
All right.
Get me involved in that.
Yes, Ratty.
Yes, sir.
Now go take a quick drive out there with wife fitting, go do some
All right.
things.
No
So
problem.
later.
All right. No problem.
All
We'll
right,
talk.
Dwayne.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hold
I'll be here. I'll soon be
Yeah.
back.
on. All right. No problem. Let me just switch. Hmm.
Can you turn on the other light, the overhead? Oh, that might be too much light right now. Mhm,